In 2017, Sonic Forces released for all modern hardware, and after the success of Sonic Mania released earlier that year, many people complained that the game was too easy and boring, and it was all boost to win. But why was that? Today, I'm going to look into all the things that could have caused Sega to make this game so linear, and try to find the real reason to this age-old, or 8-year-old I guess, question. To start off, I'm going to look at all the levels you play as the Blue Bear himself, the taller one I mean. Yeah, this game has 2 Sonics, buddy. Get used to it. When you first start Sonic Forces, you're introduced to Lost Valley, a cool 3D version of Green Hill but with sand in it. While you're being launched through the air, you get ready to play a cool mix of Green Hill and Pyramid Cave when you're met with boosting to win. Literally all you have to do in most modern Sonic levels is hold down the boost button, and you'll get carried through the level with minimal other input. There are a few branching paths, but most of the time they just barely decrease your time, so there's really no point to try and take them. I will say there are a few exceptions with levels like Egg Gate and Mortar Canyon, which can be fun for the first few playthroughs, but they do eventually get old. Overall, Sonic's levels are just a boring, minute-long straight shot to the finish. So, what led Sega to make the levels like this? The most likely thing was that there were only around 15 people designing the levels, so they probably just designed all the levels' backgrounds, and then remember they still had to make the levels themselves with whatever budget they had left, which most likely wasn't much. While that answer is the most likely one, there are other reasons Sega could have developed the game with such linear stages. Over the past 26 years before Sonic Forces came out, a lot of Sonic games could be considered at least kind of difficult, with some of the hardest, for being actually challenging and not just being buggy, being Sonic Adventure 1, 2, and Sonic Unleashed, and even some of the easier ones are difficult for people who haven't played many Sonic games before. Sonic Generations, in my opinion, is one of the easiest Sonic games, with City Escape being one of the easiest modern levels in the game. And I still know someone who took 14 minutes to beat it, and I had to remind them how to homing attack and boost almost every 30 seconds, because City Escape does require boosting and using homing attacks a lot throughout the level. So, maybe Sega just decided to turn down the difficulty a few notches for Forces, and oh boy did they deliver. But that was all I could say for Modern Sonic, so let's move on to his new partner in the game, the player avatar. After beating the first level in Sonic Forces, you're introduced to the character creator, where you can make any character and then you get to play as them to try and save Sonic, and then eventually stop Infinite and Eggman, the main villains of the game. These avatar stages are usually thought of as the least worst stages in the game, because they're the least automated and have decent platforming. The main reason people don't like these levels is because while there's not as much automation, there's still a lot and it makes it really easy. I don't know if this is just me, but if I ever die in Sonic Forces, which I usually don't, it's in one of the avatar stages, or Mortar Canyon, but I always boost off the entire level and then fall, so that's on me. So yeah, in my eyes, the avatar isn't as easy as the rest of the characters, and it's probably the least easy gameplay style in Forces. And that brings us to by far the worst gameplay style, Classic Sonic. Out of all the Sonic games in the past, the hardest have usually been known to be the classic games, with underwater platforming levels like Labyrinth Zone, levels where you can't even see the enemies like Metropolis Zone, and levels where you can barely control where you go, like Wacky Workbench Zone. To introduce a new audience to the game, Sega probably wanted to make the classic levels a bit easier than they were in the past. And like Modern Sonic, they turned it down way too much. Basically, the only mildly difficult classic level is Death Egg Zone, which just has a bunch of bottomless pits for no reason and a stupid auto-scroller, which would be just as easy if you could go faster or at whatever pace you want, but no. Sega probably only put this auto-scroller in because the level was way too short without it. Anyway, all the classic levels are just really easy because most of the time all the upper paths just make you go a bit faster, while the bottom paths don't usually have a downside. Unlike previous games, where if you fell enough times, there would usually be a bottomless pit or a spike trap that would automatically kill you. Switching back to Modern Sonic and the Avatar, they have a few levels together where you have a new mechanic, the double boost. One last complaint people had about the game being too easy is that the double boost is too automated because all you have to do is do a simple quick time event where you spam boost and then run forward without pressing anything and destroy all the enemies in your path. But here's the thing, you don't even have to do the QTE. If you don't press the button at all, not even a single time, you'll stumble a bit, but then you'll still double boost. It's literally 100% automated. Bro, this one I have no reason for really. It's a new mechanic and a new gameplay style, so they probably just didn't know how to use it and missed their opportunity. In bosses, you mostly just mindlessly homing attack or spin dash, so there's nothing really to say about them other than they could have had more variety to be a bit more difficult or interesting. And that was all the reasons I could find for why Forces was so easy. I really hope they eventually remake it, but like good. And anyway, be sure to like the video if you liked it, subscribe if you want, and talk about low budget flights, no food or movies. I'm outta here.